Hi guys, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Nuggets News. Today we're very lucky to have a special guest, and that's Brian, or Snappy as you may know him, from PIVX.
Hey, what's up, guys?
It was a bit of a time difference, mate. You're literally over the other side of the world, so how's it going over there?
It's going well. It's descending into evening right now, and speaking of descending, I'm in my basement. But you know what? We're talking privacy and all that fun stuff, and plus it's the closest thing to my router, so it works.
Very, very fitting indeed. So, talk us through the history of PIVX. I think the idea was 2015, and then it launched as Darknet in 2016.
Yep. So co-founded. So there was two guys, two individuals that you could say like the nexus point of what is now PIVX. Announced in 2015. It was back in the day a fair launch, right? Because there was no ICOs, et cetera. So this was a fair launch coin. There was no Instamine. It was announced before. It was basically, here's the Genesis block. There was a 60,000 coin, and it's called a pre-mine, to set up the masternode network, which is, we can talk about that technology and what that was used for and what it will be used for. Yeah. And those were publicly burned as well. So it said, hey, we're going to set these up, and then publicly burned, and they were. So yeah, it launched under Darknet. Back 2016, the only way you heard about coins was if you're on Bitcoin Talk, right? Like, yes. You go in and see what the new coins are, and then you see who has the legendary status, and you're like, oh, they know what they're talking about. Like, all of that old, it's still used, but it's, everything's moved to Twitter now. So largely. Yeah, so basically the project, I don't want to say it remained underground, but it kind of did. It remained underground, like off the radar for literally a year, until the community at large said, hey, it's time to rebrand. So the brand of Darknet was no longer fitting and identifying with the ethos and the community that is PIVX. Yes. And so, Firms was brought in, a firm out of Barry was brought in, did a rebrand into what is now PIVX. And that was announced in January, and then officially launched in March of 2017, a little over a year ago. Yeah. And of course, it was like that synchronistic, universal, amazing, rebrand right at the nexus of when, the Satoshi value was going up through the roof. And so people were like, where's this new coin coming from? And then they dig under the covers and like, wow, it's actually been around for a while. And there's a lot of tech, and they're doing a lot of innovative stuff. So
yeah.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I remember looking at it when it was 0.1 cent, and it was one of those things where it was harder to buy smaller coins, particularly in Australia at the time, but one of those what-if moments, I guess.
Like many of us in crypto have had, right?
Yeah, exactly. So you guys made the switch from proof of work, which most of our audience are familiar with Bitcoin and the mining, over to proof of stake in late 2016, and that was community-driven, and what were the benefits that you guys were looking at there?
Yeah, so I mean, there's a plethora of benefits. One of the biggest is you further decentralize your pool, as it were. I mean, one of the biggest things that you're seeing in the mining community is centralization, right? So you literally have this competition of who has the most computing power controls the coin, yeah. Right? And in the beauty of a proof of stake coin from that standpoint is it's in essence even more decentralized. Why? Because if you're staking the coin, you're running the entire blockchain. Yeah. So each individual wallet, so your wallet, my wallet, the wallets globally distributed around the world, are running the blockchain. So you're actually in control of the currency versus you're at the mercy of a miner who can decide what they want. So that was one of the big ones. And the second was I think the developers had good gut intuition of realizing, look, proof of work is not going to be sustainable for the long haul. It just isn't. And the way that it was being done back then. And so proof of stake being a much more energy efficient and environmentally friendly algorithm.
Yeah, for sure. And that's probably a deeper discussion as well going forward if we see renewable energy, because Bitcoin mining is taking up more and more energy and that sort of thing. So you touched on the wallet features there, mate. So you can be a master node with 10,000 PIVX, which is very cheap compared to, I think, Dash master node is around $1 million. So this is around $50,000 currently to set this up. But anyone can stake with any amount of PIVX directly from the wallet. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yep. So if you look at the reward side of things, right? Since we're not since there are no traditional proof of work miners they're the ones earning the rewards in PIVX, there's many ways you can actually earn PIV, but with a wallet functionality is running that masternode, as you said. And so on average, you will earn a reward. I think the latest calculation was every day and a half, right? So you're going to get, 2.5 PIV every day and a half, right? And it works out, the ROI on that, I think is around 6 to 8% annually in PIV. And then, you also have the ability, if you don't have that 10,000, you can stake with even less than a PIV. But with one PIV, we say you can literally put one PIV in your wallet, and then you have the ability to earn rewards. And we've had people do that. We've seen it. We've seen people put one PIV in a wallet, and then boop, they earn the reward, and so they just tripled, which is kind of awesome. Yeah.
I think that's another aspect to the entire crypto space as this grows and gets mainstream recognition. Interest rates in America is 1%. If you can, there's so many of these proof of stake coins, we can get 7% in PIVX. It's going to be attractive for a new asset class.
And then, so the flip is, and I'll put an asterisk in that, right? Because if we continue the same methodology of just chasing what's the biggest ROI, then we're going to put ourselves in the same financial crisis that we're in globally, right? Hyperinflation, like a coin that promises 100% ROI a year, you got to scratch your head and go, wait, that's devaluing my currency, right? So I might be getting all these Satoshis, but the realization that this thing has to continue to increase in value in order to sustain itself, So that's my little caveat of, pay attention to the economics, the cryptonomics of a coin.
It's sort of in line with the reasonable growth of crypto in the community versus getting 100%, and people are going to be more inclined to dump that on market and that sort of thing. So completely agree. The protocol and privacy. So the ZPIV that people might be a bit confused. What's the difference between ZPIV and PIV for staking versus sending and that sort of thing?
Sure. Yep. So PIVX, which, we didn't even say it stands for Private Instant Verified Transaction. So there you go. So we'll back into it. It is a wickedly fast transfer. We do have the ability to do instant sends or, zero confirmation, leveraging our masternode network. So that's a nice, really beautiful thing about if anybody has had experience trying to transfer Bitcoin anytime, really, takes some while. So PIVX is instant. But the privacy feature that we've implemented into PIVX is basically a complete customization of ZeroCoin. So ZeroCoin is that academic vetted protocol out of Johns Hopkins about a way to send a coin privately with zero proof of where its origination was. So in PIVX, you can think of, and I usually say it this way, you can think of there's the public send, and then there's the private send. So when you send a PIV, right, or you get a PIV from the exchange, that's the public coin. A ZPIV or a ZPIV, depending on, how you pronounce that letter, is the private send. So what it means is in your core wallet, you have any range or mix of, you have PIV, and then the ability to convert some or all of that into what is then the private coin, right? Those coins actually, the private coins never leave your wallet. It is literally like a token, you can think of it like a casino token, right? That's in there that identifies, hey, you have a corresponding amount of PIV. When you want to send it, brand new ones minted and then sent.
So at the moment, to do all this staking, you can't yet do that with the ZPIV, but that is something that you guys are looking at as well?
Yep. So that will be another first for crypto. So we are actually the first proof of stake coin to implement the ZeroCoin protocol. So that was the first that PIVX pioneered. The next one will be privacy staking, what we'll call Z staking, is staking of those ZPIVs. So that means if you think about it that way, you can literally take, say, your entire balance and stake it completely shielded from anyone looking at addresses, right? Because right now you can look at staking addresses of any coin and see, okay, here's the ones that are staking and here's how much they're earning. Well, with ZPIV staking, boom, that's completely firewalled. That's you. Nobody knows how much you're staking, and then nobody knows how much you're earning rewards on it. And that will be dropping with the core wallet upgrade, which is it's coming any day now. So that'll be the upgrade from core wallet 3.06 to 3.1.
Awesome. Cool. So just
Yeah.
as an example, as you touched on there about the option to send instantly for a slightly higher fee, if I want to pay my bill at Living Room of Satoshi, they accept PIVX here in Australia, mate. If I want to send you some on the other side of the world, the fees are higher, but fees are so low that it's the difference between 0.1 of a cent or 0.2 of a cent or something. So it's completely negligible in this scheme of things still, isn't it? Yeah.
Yep.
Awesome.
So that's...
sorry.
Oh, go ahead. Oh, I was gonna chime real quick. So that's actually really the fee, the network fee that's in PIVX. Cycling back into the cryptonomics or economics of what PIVX is special is those network fees are burned, right? So what that in essence means is those are coins removed from circulation and destroyed. So every time people in the network are sending back and forth or executing from their core wallets these transactions, coins are being removed from circulation. So down the road, what's gearing up is that PIVX can actually become a deflationary currency, right? You will have more coins coming out of circulation than being minted every block.
Yeah, and just the basics of supply and demand would say that should cause upward pressure on the price. So all things remaining equal.
Yes.
So other future plans, I know you're talking about rolling out ATMs globally, and there's a PIVX community here in Australia as well. So ATMs in Australia?
Yeah, I mean, that would be ideal. It would be great to have PIVX ATMs globally, dispersed throughout the world. In the interim, there's also still ongoing works about the point of sale terminals. That was something that was brought up last year, ran into some roadblocks. It's still ongoing. The developer's still evolved. So trying to nail down that one. The other components that will be massive, I believe, the ZDEX. So the decentralized exchange that's going to be within the core wallet as well. Yeah. So that means you can literally put a Bitcoin into your PIVX wallet and back out the corresponding amount of ZPIV. So you can run down the litany of why that's going to be valuable for the network and then for people as well.
Whoever does multi-coin wallet and decentralized exchange well is going to be onto a real winner, I think.
Yeah. Yep. Then some of the other stuff too, this speaks more, I would say, on the community and adoption side of things. There's PIVX ambassadors that have already been tapped. We talked a little bit about this before, but there's these ambassadors that are popping up globally, right? So these are geographically located individuals that are passionate and willing to do meetups and promote PIVX and talk about it and its benefits. That's taking off. PIVX Places was just put public, so you can go on to PIVX Places and see the various locations, whether they're brick and mortar stores or online, where you can use your PIVX or actually obtain them. The other is we don't talk about it a lot, but PIVX fans. So the third way to get PIV is you can literally go to PIVX fans, create a simple account, and do bounties. They're social bounties. And when you complete those social bounties, you can earn PIV, right? So this is what we say. Literally, you can have $0 fiat currency. And as long as you have access to an internet currently right now, you can get into crypto. Just sign up on an account. You can get your first PIV. And now you've got Satoshis, right? You have PIV. You've got Satoshis. Yeah. Go play. So
yeah, you guys have always been very community driven. That's one of the things that attracted me to PIVX when I first covered it as well. Government regulation and that side of things. So for people that are sort of new to crypto, Bitcoin is what they call pseudonymous. So your address doesn't have your name attached to it, but once you've used it on an exchange or you've sent someone else coins, governments can start to trace, and they're getting better at this with programs, whose address is whose. So how do you think this all fits into the conversation going forward, privacy and government and that sort of thing?
I think it's going to bring up some deeper philosophical conversations. If the community engages, I would say, in a higher resonant manner about these conversations, right? Because we can have the same old conversation of it's my rights and blah 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 blah. However, I think the opportunity that's going to be coming for a lot of us is to say, look, the same rights that protect, right, a hacker or a spy getting my information, like my privacy, is important. And it's also the same to prevent a government or banks peering into my personal information, right? You've got to have both sides. If everything just becomes public, now you are literally opening up the citizens for all kinds of phishing attacks, scamming attacks, identity thefts, you name it. So privacy matters on a individual human level. Now, how we as individuals then use our privacy, that's a whole separate conversation, right? So I think from a regulators and lawmaker standpoints, we have an opportunity to actually engage in discussions and say, here's why privacy matters, right? On a global scale. Now, of course, we could take off the hat or put on our tinfoil aluminum hats, right? And say, yeah, perhaps the government doesn't want citizens to have privacy for whatever reasons. Well, then that's going to become an interesting turning point for humanity to decide, well, what does matter and what matters most.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people get into crypto to disrupt the sort of economic side of things, but I think now that we've got all these broad projects, it's starting to raise some very serious social questions and philosophical questions, as you said, which is awesome to see.
Yeah.
So how can people join the PIVX community, mate?
Many ways, right? Pick your flavor of how you like to join. Discord tends to be where a lot of the community banter happens, you know, sort of like the back and forth. So by all means, join the Discord channel. There is a Telegram channel. You know, Twitter's fairly active. Our Reddit is pretty active and robust as well. You know, social, wherever you like to hang out, whether it's on social media, whether it's in a Discord, you'll find PIVX champions and community everywhere. Discord tends to be the main spot, as it were. So, and then literally it's just come in, introduce yourself, say hi. You know, that's the beauty of being a DAO, of being a community, literally a community run and driven project, is whenever we all show up and as empowered individuals and bring our best, then we all collectively grow together. So
awesome.
It's free reign.
I think that's a great note to finish on, mate. So thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having us on.
Cool. Cheers.